Dredge is a video game which came out last March on every platform to great acclaim. It's a $25 exploration adventure game developed by Black Salt, where you play as a fisherman who just came to the fictional archipelago of the Marrows to try and make a living selling fish to the small towns inhabiting the islands. Or, at least, that's what the game tells you at the start. The game really is a half-relaxing fishing game, half-Lovecraftian horror story. It manages to mix sailing around scenic islands and finding cool fish, alongside discovering the mind-bending secrets of an archipelago filled with eldritch horrors, into one cohesive, engaging game. It doesn't always do it perfectly, but nonetheless, it's a fun, atmospheric, and all-around excellent game. The core gameplay loop of Dredge is simple. You sail around looking for spots with schools of fish. When you find them and cast your line, you'll be launched into these little mini-games where you have to press a button at the right time to pull up the fish quicker. These are pretty simple and aren't that difficult, but new variations of the game keep cropping up as you discover new types of fish, which keeps things fresh and fun. You'll want to be catching fish as fast as possible because, as it gets night on the open ocean, rarer and more valuable fish come to the surface. But in turn, as it gets very late, supernatural occurrences will haunt you and damage your boat as it gets into the wee hours of the morning. Even if you manage to avoid these horrors, your character starts getting sleep-deprived and paranoid if he doesn't have the chance to sleep every night at a dock. The fish you manage to get in these day-long excursions can be sold for money, which you primarily use on upgrading your ship, whose hull is sort of like a Tetris game board. It forces you to think about what fishing rods and engines to equip your boat with in order to leave the most amount of room for the fish you find. Quickly, though, you realize that the real goal of the game is to dredge up relics from a crashed ship and return them to a recluse collector who has mysterious eldritch powers. You'll complete 5 quests of this nature, one for each cluster of islands, in order to finish the game. These quests vary in quality and length, but their main purpose is mostly just to make you explore their respective islands and find the new fish which inhabit them. What makes Dredge truly engaging is the things you discover on the side. As I mentioned, there are 5 main island clusters, but many smaller islands are strewn between them. It's here where you find all the side quests, which is where the magic really happens. For example, there are mysterious cultists in some of the more remote islands who ask you for specific types of fish, which become increasingly harder to locate and catch. The first one I found, I gave up on because I couldn't find one of the fish you wanted. After a few days, I found it, but when I had returned, he had starved to death, unable to give me whatever reward I was expecting. I was disappointed, but this was one of the moments when the game felt alive. Your choices, and more importantly, your mistakes, have an actual impact on gameplay and the archipelago. There are plenty of other events like this which underscore the game's scary, Lovecraftian tone. Sell the fishmonger the corrupted fish he craves, and he'll bar his door for a few days performing some kind of ritual, which does make money tough for a while. You can find the old mayor of the town you fish for on a stranded, barren rock. Through his ramblings, you can piece together some of the main secrets of the game. It's moments like this when the world feels really alive, and makes the game feel truly special. The core issue with Dredge, though, is that halfway through the game, you've sort of already beat it. Your upgraded engines and suite of eldritch powers that you get from the collector trivialize almost all of the threats you run into, which can be satisfying at first, but it gets boring fast as you realize there's no other, more dangerous thing to run into at best. You're sort of a big fish in a little pond. The monster-infected open oceans and cramped channels, which used to quicken your heart when you passed through them, are now mostly inconveniences going from point A to point B. This could be overlooked if so many of the other magical pieces of the game didn't fall to the wayside along with it. You upgrade your ship quite quickly, making fishing for profit, the mechanical core of the game, feel like a waste of time, and fish are often so big and unwieldy that it isn't a game of Tetris anymore. You can simply just fit 1 or 2 and that's it. Most sadly, though, as you venture into the archipelago, instead of meeting the interesting, jaded, two-faced, mysterious characters that populate the starting island, with fun side quests, you start only ever meeting this robotic-feeling traveling merchant, who constantly seems to follow you around and conveniently offers every single service that you might possibly need. This is especially annoying because the characters are a big strength of the game. In the beginning, everyone you meet is deeply changed by where they live. It's almost as if they've taken on the uncaring, brutal tack of the ocean surrounding them, dejectedly muddling through life one day at a time. They know there's something deeply wrong with the sea, but most are just too exhausted to care. The only people who smile are hiding something, and every gift comes with a responsibility. It's almost perfect. Very few games execute this tone so well without feeling heavy-handed or obnoxiously nihilistic. However, as you venture more into the archipelago, you start only ever meeting this robotic-feeling traveling merchant. She effortlessly, constantly sails the seas which have broken so many people you've met, including your own character, always dispensing stiff, one-dimensional dialogue. It's really a black mark on the otherwise very stellar character design and writing in the game. Again, though, I'm only being so hard on this game because I love it so much. There are so many great moments of tone and gameplay which far offset downsides. And these issues are most egregious in the middle of the game. If you push on towards the end, you'll start seeing a lot of the quality world building present at the beginning coming back. The mechanics of fishing still sort of fall to the wayside, but the atmosphere, mystery, and fear definitely returns. For me, and I think many others, that'll make this game more than worth playing to completion. I'm not going to spoil any significant story points, but rest assured that there are story points worth spoiling. There are twists and turns, stuff definitely doesn't go the way I expect it to, which honestly is pretty rare in many modern games. If you're intrigued with anything you've seen or heard about, whether it's the calm fishing or the eldritch horror, I would strongly recommend getting this game and experiencing the fantastic story, atmospheres, and visuals for yourself. For the UI Midway, I'm Eric Rauman.